Okay, people joining this live stream. This is, I don't know how many design reviews I've done today. Maybe it's 5 or 6. This is one about natural language processing and text cases. So which version should I be in? Head branch build or prototype build or something else?
I think our networks are broken, right? Or I don't know about the Mac situation.
Well, how do I find out?
I don't know, you can try text contents, something.
Is that a sign that it's broken, or is that a sign that it's...
No, it's an empty dataset. It seems to work.
Okay. So if I say Wikipedia data of cat, and then I say, what would I, if I then say text cases of that, comma, country, for example, should I expect that to work? Okay. Now, what does this mean?
Yeah, this I changed now. That there are 3 kinds of process bar because there are 3 kind of long processes. So instead of processing, it's telling like detecting entities, things like this.
That's rather spectacular, by the way, what it did there, except the US is kind of weird here.
That's weird. Is it a comma in the string or a comma?
Yeah, because there is US in the later part of that list.
Mm-hmm.
We should have put them together, right? Oh, well, that's weird.
That's really odd. Okay, but can we see, Jerome? Can you send through some screen caps of your progress indicators?
Yes. Where should I send it?
Just send it to my email. Okay, guide page. What is it called?
The text content types.
Does it look like a latest version?
I just pulled this minutes ago. Okay.
So we decided to separate into interpretable elements. It's everything that is interpretable but not an entity. Then we have the list of entities that are separated the same way as interpreter does. We should, yeah. Then there is, this needs to be changed, huh?
I don't know how to format this because here we don't have links for all this stuff. But we could link to the programming language classifier, for example, which lists all these entities.
Okay. Well, this is definitely an improvement as a page. Okay.
So, okay.
Processing functions such as support many allow text, allow many different kinds of types of content to be identified in text. Some of these types of content, some of these while others relate to semantic interpretation. Something like that. Okay. Let's look at how this is set up. Okay. I think these should come much higher up. All right, let's take a look here. I would recommend that we start with these constituents and parts of speech. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, they're small as well, so it's easy to find the rest, but hard to find them. I agree.
Okay. Let's call them structural components, if you don't mind. Or is that unreasonable? And is that bad technical terminology?
We already called them structural choice in the past. Actually, in documentation, we said structural choice.
Structural what?
I mean, we just say possible choice are, and then we say structural choices are. So
okay. Okay, structural elements. Why don't we have text if we have non
yeah, we should probably.
But normally these are like isolated exotic characters inside the text. I don't know if there is a point into having.
But we could imagine you give some code or something, and you want to grab all the text, which would mean all the comments, or I don't know. I guess it depends on the definition of text, really.
Yeah, it's not what non-text is doing. It's not going to grab the parts. So.
Maybe we could have natural language text somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Okay, here. Let's move those guys down. We can just say let's just list these on one line here. Punctuation, white space, and emoticon, because it's really clear what they all are. And I assume white space is capitalized the same way in other places.
I think so. Let's check. Yeah, there's actually a symbol white space, just like that.
Okay. Why is this in this wacky order?
What do you mean?
I mean, isn't it noun, verb? I mean, isn't that... let's not put it in alphabetical order. That's not helping anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's try and put it in an order that actually makes some sense. That are not ordinary letter-like text. Okay. Noun. Let me try and pull these out of here. Noun, verb, I think this is kind of like a canonical order, isn't it? I mean, noun, verb, adjective, adverb.
There is a parts of speech ref page where there is a list. It does not have the complete list though.
Are you serious? Oops. What happened to that?
Yeah, noun, verb, adjective, adverb. You're right. Preposition, determiner.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Where is the? What happened to the parts of speech?
Parts of speech. This is part of speech.
Okay. What the heck? Why isn't that coming up correctly? I'm saying get function page.
And you
For
see that
parts-
it's named parts of speech. The function is called part of speech, not parts.
That is right. I am wrong, but I see it in documentation build. So if it is excised, I shouldn't be seeing it unless it was excised in version 12.
Something is wrong here. Something is wrong. You should check into this because I'm seeing part of speech. Oh, and then now it worked.
Yeah, it was probably you renamed it. It was called parts of speech before. So it's an old documentation. But anyway, the order is noun, verb, adjective, adverb, preposition, conjunction, pronoun, determiner, intersection, and then we put the obscure after, I guess.
Okay, hold on. Really, pronoun is that far down. Okay. Preposition. I guess not every language even has pronouns. Preposition, conjunction, then
pronoun,
determiner.
Yep, and interjection.
Okay, now let's have a separate line that starts out for this next case. Okay, so let's go. What's particle?
Jerome?
Yeah, I'm not an expert in grammar.
I think it's like in Greek. I know it's the words like de in ancient Greek. I'm sorry, I don't never learn the grammar of any modern language. Okay, let's list here because they're very important. Like proper noun. Someone on our live stream is suggesting a different order. I'm not sure about that. I think noun, verb. I mean, nouns and verbs are the most common. I understand that noun goes with pronoun, adjective goes, but then noun, pronoun, adjective all go together. I agree. I think this is the order of commonness of those types of words. I mean, if we look at in English, I bet we'd find that the number of, in fact, I'm just going to determine this because I'm curious.
Apparently particle, like in the phrase, in the sentence, many of the books, of is a particle, which actually is weird.
I mean, that means it's an obscure. So if I say parts of speech of, what's it going to say? Part of speech of. Preposition, which is what I thought it was. So what does it mean that it's a particle?
Wikipedia said, in English, particle is a somewhat nebulous term for a variety of small words that do not conveniently fit into other classes of words.
Okay, so look at this interesting thing. So, well, it's interesting. The number of adjectives. Are there any other? Can you find lists of parts of speech somewhere and see what ordering they have? I mean, to me, from random languages I've learned, this would be the order I would pick, but I don't know whether that's okay. So down here, a very important one is proper noun, right? And I think that might even be a line listing because I think that's something people want all the time. Do you agree? I mean, a separate line for proper noun.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
By the way, in Wikipedia, it's about the same, except that pronoun is just after adverb.
That's where I would have put it.
And they don't even, oh yeah, interjection. And determiner is after interjection. And that's Wikipedia. Determiner is the last one after interjection.
I have no opinion about that. What do we say? Does if I say the, does it say determiner here? Yeah.
Which is also called article.
That's right. That's what they always used to be called, is article. I don't know why the heck they were renamed determiners. I mean, it's like people say, things like add position instead of preposition and things. Back in the day, they always used to be called articles, and I'm going to leave them in that order because I don't like having them after interjections. I think interjections are fake words. All right, so we move pronoun here. Oh, did I mess this up? Sorry, Sushma, can you check this page?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Incidentally, obviously, part of speech should point at text cases and those other things, right? Probably even the very first thing here should be
text structure.
Well, text structure and then text cases, probably. Because that's what you do if you want to pick out parts of speech.
Mm.
Okay. All right, proper noun. So how do we define proper noun?
Good question, Jerome. What does proper noun do in our case?
I'm Googling it.
Well, I mean, I know what a proper noun is, but I mean, what does it do for us?
It's a noun which is not a common noun.
I understand.
So it's the one, okay, of the Stanford parser, right?
Yes.
A proper noun referring to a specific thing, typically referring to a specific thing. I don't know if that's a great definition of proper noun, but
It's vague because it can be a brand
what?
It can be a brand of food, for example.
Okay, look, typically beginning with a capital letter.
Yeah. This.
But okay, New York, should that be one proper noun? Probably, right?
What do we do for that?
For the moment, we separate, but I can change here so that it group this kind of things.
I don't believe parts of speech should be referred to by phrases. I think we should call these phrase types.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's grammatical unit at the phrase level. It's not part of speech anymore. Yeah.
Okay, so let's look here. Okay, so we got proper noun here. So the next thing that I think is important is all these WH things. Why is a WH pronoun there? Why don't we have a general WH word? Who, what, when, where, why? What is who anyway? It's a pronoun.
Yeah. Aren't they all pronouns?
Where?
Can
No, that's a conjunction. That's fine. But which?
And it can be both, so that's good to have a separation.
Okay, but which ones are adverbs? Why aren't we calling these question words?
Is the classification of Trepan? It's like a benchmark of parts of speech tagging. So we
And it's not just in question, huh? Right? You can put these in non-question sentence.
also.
Yeah, someone on our live stream is asking about transitive verbs and so on. Yeah, we'd love to do that. Just give us a chance. We've already got 100 different types of things we're tagging right now. Okay, well, okay, so one of the things we're going to have is okay, so pronoun. I'll say question-like words. Who, when, who, why. Okay. Now, some of these other ones, what is possessive modifier? That's an apostrophe S.
Yes.
Okay, so now we have the various fragment words. Which I think we can just list. Yeah, someone is complaining there are far more categories. This is a classification from ancient times. Yeah. Yeah. We'd love to be able to train the system on other stuff. What is limiting what we're able to train on here?
No, it's just about collecting data.
I mean, it might be out there somewhere, but we haven't been looking much in improving this part.
Okay.
I mean,
so
with a parser,
people on our live stream have suggestions for data sets, we'd be thrilled. I mean, we've used things like Pen, Tree Bank, and so on. We've used all the standard things, yes?
We use these things for part of speech. But I don't know if it's much of a priority. I don't know.
I don't think it is. I don't think this is the priority. I think the priority is more actual entities of various kinds.
Exactly, that's what we worked on.
But okay, here, okay. So let's look at what we've got here. We've got foreign word. I think we need to define that. Punctuation. Numeral. It's fairly obvious what that is. Possessive modifier. What a mess. Okay. I think possessive modifier arguably goes there. The mysterious particle. What is a symbol? Something like a section starter.
Yeah, it's like in an equation.
Okay. Well, is that a single symbol or is that something else?
Oh, it's a symbol in an equation. Yeah, so.
Okay, but what do you think? Like an X that just sits out there?
It should be a symbol.
Yeah, I mean, arguably, every one of these things are going to need their own separate documentation pages. These are ultimately these will be identification types, right?
Yeah, but there are entities with all this stuff.
What do you mean?
That we have an entity type called grammatical units, and you have all of these are entities in this set.
Then you know what? We should link these to the grammatical unit entity page for now. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So the problem is, I mean, okay, link. I want to put a link, but we have to list the string because from the grammatical unit entity page, you don't have the strings.
I understand that, although those are the canonical names of the grammatical entity. I mean, if I say, you're saying entity, and I say grammatical unit, comma, symbol, for example. Okay. What are the properties of that? Do you know?
Yeah, probably name will be.
That's pretty impoverished. Let's ask the curation team to put some examples, to have another property to be examples. Or even, why aren't we just listing what they are in English? Why isn't one property of symbol or one of these other ones like numeral? Well, actually, numeral will be kind of crazy because there's an infinite number of them, probably. I'm going to suggest that the curation team adds examples to these. That makes sense to you?
Yeah.
Suggest it if they complain. Okay. Okay, phrase types. Oh my gosh, this is a huge can of worms again.
I was thinking, should we remove, for example, things like numeral because we already have number?
Well, I don't know whether numeral is the same as number.
Yeah.
Second, third, that would be computed. That's a numeral could be an ordinal or cardinal number.
Okay,
I mean, again, there's an infinite amount of fine graining which could be used here, but I just don't think this is not what people mostly want here. Okay, so in phrase types, let's just go through these because we've got the basic things wherever they are, which is noun phrase. And then let's get on to entity types because those are really the things that we're really going to be concerned about. Okay, so we've got noun phrase. Let's follow these. Verb phrase. Then we have got adjective and adverb phrase. Oh boy, what are some of these other ones? Conjunction phrase. Prepositional phrase. Quantifier phrase. What a mess. That goes with numerals. Language is such a mess. Okay. I mean, what's interesting is how constant a lot of these structures are across so many human languages. To me, that's interesting. Okay. So now here, somewhat bizarrely, we have a WH noun phrase. I see. That's which animal escaped from the zoo, for example, I think, right?
You could try it. Text cases.
Of which animal escaped from the zoo? Hold
Why
on.
not? Let's try it.
Okay. Well, actually, what I want to do is text contents of which animal.
I'm not sure the phrase are there by default in text contents.
Not encouraging. Let's do text structure.
Yeah, with text content by default, it will search for entities, but not the part of speech stuff.
Yes, I'm right. Which animal? By the way, text structure obviously should point back to text cases. Let's just do that. If that isn't already the case.
Probably does already.
Yes, it does. It probably also should point, actually, before it even gets, oh no, should it point to text contents?
Yes, definitely. It's actually more of a contents type thing because it gives everything. So yeah, even before.
Okay, all right. Okay, noun phrase. Okay, so then let's go through the sequence we did before. Pronoun. Why isn't there a pronoun phrase? Why isn't there a WH pronoun phrase? Oh, because it isn't a phrase in English, but I bet it can be in other languages. Like, oh no, it can't be a pronoun because it would be a pronoun is just a small, I think. I mean, the only thing we're really trying to do here is to make it so that people can have a hope of finding what they're looking for in these lists. Okay, now, okay, these next few things, I mean, arguably, some of the stuff, yeah, I think we do have to have the parts of speech and so on at the top, because then we're going to get to these interpretable elements, as you're calling them, which are much more of the meat of what's going on, and then to the entities types. Okay, so what is a fragment? Do you know?
Yeah, it's a piece of sentence isolated.
What is sentence there? Sentence is a whole. Okay, so there's a line here which has.
If you write an incomplete sentence in text structure, for example, does it do fragments or?
Oh yes, it does. So that would be. Right, that goes along with these. Now, what's list marker?
It's when you enumerate stuff like 1, 2, 3, or bullets.
Okay, what is not a constituent?
This one I forgot.
A parenthetical goes in these, I think. Now, why isn't a quotation along with like a parenthetical? Why is a quotation different from a parenthetical? Why is that a different type of thing? And how come we've got sentence twice?
Yeah, sentence twice, it's a bit on purpose because it's not a problem, right, to repeat stuff into several categories.
It's not a huge problem, but it's not relevant if it isn't, if we don't really need it here, I would take it out. But quotation seems much more like it goes down here. Don't you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the method behind is very different, but it's not...
Well, the only issue is that the containing stuff goes, these structural elements, yeah, when you say containing, don't we want to mention the containing stuff here?
maybe, yes.
It's only for what? For sentence, paragraph, and line. Actually, I don't know. Does it work with quotation or?
It works
Could
with
work with
anything,
quotation.
but sometimes it does not make sense, right?
Oh, it works with everything. Okay. So I guess.
Well, with quotation, it will make sense, yeah.
Or maybe we should put it right at the top. Containing. Now, is there any other thing which applies to everything? Is there any other wrapper?
Alternatives?
Yeah, we've got alternatives containing.
Verbatim.
What's that?
Verbatim.
Which? Verbatim?
Well, yeah, verbatim, yeah. It's to do really a string cases.
We're using the term verbatim?
I think so.
Yeah, it's not documented because actually it's just doing a string case in this case. So.
But it's our way in. But you could do, you know, containing, quotation, verbatim, I guess.
Okay. Strings to match verbatim.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, so then we've got alternatives and except, presumably. Right?
Except we don't have no.
Really?
We don't have an end also if you want to put constraints.
What kind of constraints? What?
Of end. I don't know what's the equivalent of an end, like what alternatives is for or. But we don't have a pattern like this, like I want all the cities that have a name of a color, or I don't know what, but...
Wait, so...
Yes, I understand, but require both. That's an interesting question. I mean, that kind of pattern intersection thing we have considered for the pattern matcher. So, Ishmael, I think that's another ILD topic.
Okay.
The pattern intersection case. I mean, the fact that it hasn't been needed in 30 years is because most patterns don't. These kinds of sort of fake patterns are much more likely to need that than a genuine structural pattern. Okay.
You know, you can do it with 2 excepts.
Wow, yes, so you can. Okay, alternatives. Let's see. Types. Alternative types or types allow multiple types. Types that can that must appear within other types, e.g., no. Let's see. Define containers, e.g., sentences, for matches. Allow multiple types to match. Multiple types. Is that okay? Got a better idea? Okay, so now here we have, I think noun phrase head comes first. Reduced relative clause. Oh boy, yeah, those are things, actually, these should be in a separate list. Hey. What a mess. Okay, clause. I think reduced relative clause and unlike coordinated. Do you know what any of these are?
No, it's very specific.
What is not a constituent?
Yeah, I was trying to understand that.
All right, well, why don't you go find out what it is, and then we'll discuss it. Okay, noun phrase head. Quantifier phrase. I'm not sure what that is exactly. Okay, all right. Okay, let's keep going though. Okay, I don't really like the term interpretable elements, but what should we call these?
So it's everything that is as an interpreter, but not an entity. Actually, Twitter handle doesn't have an interpreter, so it's not exactly that.
Okay.
Right, something where the interpreter won't return an entity, but something else. So it's quantities or addresses.
Yeah.
Or nothing, but I mean, or string. It's also a sort of, infinite set type thing. You
have no, I know. It's the infinite set case as opposed to the fixed set of entities.
Yeah. Which I guess you can separate in addresses and numerical stuff.
All right, let's do this. What are those? What are those cells? What type are those cells? And do you know if you're doing this correctly? And Sushma, I think you need to. No, that's a completely wrong level there.
It's more about.
Yeah, that's a completely wrong level. So Sushma, you're going to have to talk to Brian about what to do with this page.
Yeah, and also, are there guide pages that are experimental? Because this one shows that it's experimental.
I think there are.
Okay, I can check that.
I'm not certain. Okay, so these seem like the wrong. Yeah, we've got some suggestions on our live stream. We have pluralize. We can change number. We don't have a way to change tenses yet. We are working on the curation of inflections. Been doing that for about a year. And that's slowly chugging along. Although I have to say that the usage of these very grammatical things has not been that great. It's just not. It's not how we do natural language understanding, and it doesn't seem to be. Okay. Anyway, so this is. So here we've got. Okay. What is this? What is that? Is that a? That's not a subsection heading. Look, I think this is a total mess. This. I think you've got completely the wrong. That's a subsection. Maybe this is a subsection. You were right. Okay. So then. Okay. Quantitative elements, let's say. And I'm going to squiggle color into that. Color, textually described color, right?
Yes.
Does it do light blue?
It should.
Okay. Next section is time and place. Location, time and place. And third piece here. Identification elements.
Actually, they may be already separated in interpreter now, in such form. Let's check.
Okay, so here, I can't imagine why Twitter handle needs to be separated out.
Yeah, no.
It's just that it's not documented because yeah, there is no interpreter types Twitter handle for now.
All right, let's leave it like this. This is okay, I think. It's not great, and maybe as we change it. Okay. You can't say that. You can't put text in here.
Okay, that's okay. So, but the content is important. Is that it's not just for this specific set. It's not just the type that you can query. You can also query a specific element of this type. Now you can look for all the cities, but you can also look for just New York.
Okay. Well, so then let's do this. Let's do this. Let's say entity. Okay. Match a specific entity, e.g., and now I'm going to do control equals, which of course doesn't work in here. You cannot insert a free form thing at that location. Okay, control equals New York. That probably needs to be rendered nicely. Makes sense? That's what you meant by this, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but also that the types that we list, it only supports these types.
I'm sorry?
It only supports the types that are listed below.
So we have this 170 type or whatever. And you can only ask entities belonging to these types.
Okay.
All these types.
Match a specific entity. I think this is okay. I think it's okay. We can explain that somewhere in text cases.
Yeah.
Maybe. Match a specific entity. How about that? Just to make it clear there's some issue here. Okay. Space related. Oh my gosh. Yeah, these, have you talked to the curation team about these?
About what? Sorry,
Animals, mammals.
to annotate data? Or what was
Yeah. Because we need to be able to, right, because you haven't got those yet, right?
Yes.
Because those aren't entity types.
These are entity types, or
No, they're not. If I say,
yeah, that's
What
if
right.
did
I
you
say
say?
entity reptile, right? I don't think that's going to do anything. If I say entity list, let's say I say random entity reptile 10, I believe it's going to give me an error message.
Yeah, okay.
Right. So that's
Yes,
something, again.
So we need to do an ontology. Yeah.
Right. We need to do those. And we know those. We know all of those. We can deduce those. And I think this is something to talk to Tony and Alan about. I think it'd be nice to be able to say random entity of animal, 10. In other words, I think it needs to be a subtype, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Now, why are we not supporting drug here in medical?
I don't remember, but I could not build any data also with this.
That's not right. But the drug case of that's really weird. Maybe we need what's a Cipro? Is that a type of? Oh my gosh! What the heck is it? Maybe I'm wrong. What's a famous drug? Lipitor. How about that? Yes. Okay. So that became the chemical in that case. That's the generic name for that drug.
And we have chemical, right?
What's that?
Yeah, we have chemical in text edit. Yeah.
Right. Can we ask Sushma? Can we ask the question why? I thought we recognized.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we certainly seem to recognize drug names, but why do we not have an entity? I thought we had, like a decade ago, worked with the U.S. pharmacopoeia, right, to get all the drug types.
Yes. Yeah, I can ask that.
Is there always the ambiguation thing? Like if you want to have the Wolfram language entity, for example, it's one that I always have a hard time to do because it you want to have the Wolfram language programming language entity.
Yes.
You
mean, is there a way to do that in the natural language input?
Yes, without. I mean, I don't know what is the simplest.
We talked about doing that in connection with Wolfram Alpha several years before it was released, having kind of a trick way to do that, and we ended up not doing it. But actually, now we probably could use it. People would probably find it useful to have a shorthand, which is blah 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 : blah blah blah. That's a topic. That's something to talk to Alan and Michael about.
Yeah, because here you have to click disambiguation.
Yeah, right. I mean, in other words, to be able to have an indicator that people could reasonably type in for that. Is that the languages? Those are the languages we have.
Natural languages, yeah, we could actually put not. I mean, I don't know.
But some of these are ridiculous, if I might say so. I mean, some of these are so obscure.
Yes, but they have
that's a specific. So do we have? Okay, so if we say word list, so this is again a curation issue, because I'm pretty sure that word list, we probably have some Greelandic word list. Yeah, you see, it's not even recognized as a type. Is this even a language type? Do you know?
It must be, yeah.
Not necessarily.
This was based on the top 60 of Wikipedia number of Wikipedia page.
But that's ridiculous. Greenlandic, I mean, is an incredibly obscure language. Oh, but look, we have a list here. What's that? No. Somebody gamed Wikipedia or something stupid like that. Right? I don't understand. What are these? Are these? Did you train on these somehow?
Yeah, it was my first project in the company. I trained on these using various data sets, but the ontology was just made taking the first, 60 or something in Wikipedia.
Okay, but what we have now, if you do word translation of something like fish, all, now we have a lovely list of the languages in order. Okay, in order of frequency.
We should do that. It's been a while. We have to do a new version of the language classifier.
I hate to do it, but I feel like taking out this obscure version of Greenlandic. I don't think it'll be in here, for example.
The poor Greenlandic people.
What's that?
The poor Greenlandic people.
Well, I'm gonna find out something here.
Maybe it has another name.
No, it
just called
doesn't. Greenlandic.
Did you try? Oh, here you go.
Oh, well, maybe I'm wrong. There's a whole 5,700 people. No, 57,000 people.
Yes.
Wow, it's almost the population of Champagne. It's more than the population of the town I live in. Okay. Well, I don't know what you. So these are trained with what data sets? This is what language.
It does a mix of various data sets.
But this is what language identifier uses?
Yeah.
So language identifier cannot generate a language other than those. So if I say to language identify, for example, whatever that is.
Marathi, it doesn't seem to be in language, so it won't recognize it. It will say something else. Something with same alphabet, I guess.
So this arguably should be redone.
Yeah.
Sushma, do you know, is that plausible?
Yeah.
I mean, is that the Hindi, is that the right script? But is that language a different? Like, I don't know if you can read, but I mean, like, can you read that?
Yeah, I can read that. So I had tried Hindi. The only thing that does not work is, this is how it is. There is a concept of vowels and consonant, and when you add consonant to a vowel, it changes. So basically the first one, the first letter there is a combination of a consonant and vowel. But if I try to type it down, it does not change that efficiently. So I don't know how you actually did that.
I think it's what came out in the string. That's because of the string rendering doesn't. But okay, all right. So look, separate sub-project is to improve language identifier, which is a different thing.
To add more stuff, because it actually works very well for the stuff it has.
Good. Okay. All right, I just want to, so these are quantitative elements. See, the pity is that also people are going to want to tag with sentiment. That's going to be another common thing. I think we should put that up at the top. Well, heck. I think languages and programming languages should be down at the bottom. Some of this is ridiculously obscure. And how can we have a space in our name here? Look, there's no way these entities.
That's weird. I'm not sure if they're still.
No, this has to be wrong. Whatever you did here, this is wrong. These are incorrect. We don't use pluses and things like that. So something is wrong there.
This, I mean,
But
did
it's
we even document?
arbitrary. So you don't want spaces, right, in the names?
Okay, by the way, Sushma, can you report another bug here? If you look at the autocomplete there, see that it's cutting off those things.
What? How did we construct these strings? Like, was it documented before?
Yes, it's documented right here.
No, this, yes, but.
Right, but I mean, so if I look at C++, for example, right, and I look at, I mean, there'll be a standard name, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, that's really funky, and that's probably stupid. Yeah, it's another thing for Alan.
Also, are you using prototype or master?
I mean, is that common name or something else?
I don't even know what I'm using here. How can I tell? Let's see.
System information, I suppose.
Okay, so what are you saying here? So look, these are clearly goofed up. So these have got to be fixed. These cannot be the canonical names.
Yeah.
Whatever they are, if we're going to use those canonical names, have to agree with these. Make sense?
Yeah, if they don't have weird.
And why are there? This is another bug for Alan.
You should put the plus though. How can you?
What's that?
How can you do it differently than C++?
Well, you could say, I don't know how we're going to do it. We could do it C++, like that for the canonical name. We can use a string, but please talk to Alan about it. These are clearly wrong.
Okay.
Like that one, I'm quite certain its canonical name is not. Yeah, it's just that.
Yeah.
Why is C++ such a bizarre canonical name? I have no idea. Well, so this we can clearly fix right now.
I mean, we can remove the space out of area, yeah.
But it's not just the space. We've got to have it agree with the canonical names for the language entities, for the programming language entities.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think we should be more positive. We should start off with positive and go to negative. Maybe I'm just silly, but I think we should go positive, negative, neutral.
Mm.
Okay, so where do we want to put this? See, this feels to me like it's more goes with the parts of speech. I think it should go up there. Now, whether we want to put topics, how important, how good are our topics?
So, no, we're decent. We are decent. I mean, again, if it matches one of the topic, you can try it if you want. Classify Facebook topic and
topics.
When there's a clear topic, it usually works.
Okay. Well, all right. I think we've got a reasonable first cut here. Okay. So I unfortunately need to go imminently. Is there anything that we need to cover specifically here?
Okay. So
well,
now
this
we
is hopelessly
exactly.
Oh gosh.
So that's a big question. How much do we release stuff in documentation because it is in the guide anyway?
Well, I think you've got to have a marker here after text cases that says.
Actually, we don't know how to do that.
No, you don't know how to do that. Somebody says they asked Wolfram how many legs does a hyena have. I'm really surprised it doesn't know that, actually. There's been a lot of work done, actually, rather recently on animal properties. I'm really surprised it doesn't know that. It's possible that the production site doesn't know it yet, but I'm pretty sure that's something we know. You want to pass that query on to Michael?
Yes.
Sushma?
Yeah.
How many legs does a hyena have?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it lovely that we go from, well, for those who are here in the last hour of design reviews, we were talking about geometric computation and winding numbers of polygons, and now we're reduced to how many legs does a hyena have? Never mind. Okay, so you need to talk to Brian about how to do that thing there. And I think what it should say, what are we going to have it say? We should say, let's just say text content types. Okay, that will be the phrase. Or listing. Do we say listing?
Yeah. In interpreter, we say listing of interpreter types. So maybe listing of text content types.
That's fine. That sounds good to me.
And then in documentation, like, should we copy a bit of the main ones or be quite?
I would not do it. I would just say, well, what do we do for something like import? We're completely silent.
Yeah.
I think that's the right thing to do. So I'm going to, just as an indication, not that it's real, I'm going to put this up there.
Okay, so
this is actually very nice functionality, I have to say. I think this is really cool. So if I were to do, for example, let me just try something. So if I were to say text cases of Wikipedia data of cat, comma, date. Okay. Oh, you'd sent me those images. Let me take a look at those. Cool. Now, unfortunately, some of these things like tomorrow, for example. So if I say date, arrow, interpretation, right?
Interpreters.
Yeah, we already realized it. Yeah, like when there is today, or it's going to be wrong.
What do you mean it's going to be wrong?
If you say today in a text and you ask the interpretation, it will be always the day.
But today is kind of right, because in the text, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what they mean by today?
Yeah, but tomorrow will be a bit more.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's kind of funny, right? That it's going to do that. That's kind of funny and ridiculous.
But why is it with tomorrow and not today? I didn't understand the difference.
No. One of them was today, one of them was tomorrow, right? But the point is, well, how do we handle that? I don't know. It depends what people want.
I think that's good that we separated really about the string and the interpretation.
Yeah.
It's clear.
No, I agree, because the interpretation, the problem is that this is a case. Okay, this is a case to mention to Nick Riviere, because the new temporal logic stuff might handle this properly. This is an interesting case because it's a tomorrow relative to a universe of what the world is like, which is what's defined by the page for cat. Get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Try position, location. Something that Jerome just added.
In here? Location. Oh, location.
And you can probably put both. Put string and interpretation, so we can see. Because this is everything that can be located somewhere.
Right.
You could put that on a map. Clear, I think I'm doing an example like that. Oh.
Ouch. Is there something to do with 4-byte Unicode? Possibly. Some of that stuff there. Are you handling 4-byte Unicode correctly, Jerome? Or are you just getting whatever you get from the rest of the system?
No, I did not do anything particular.
Well, particularly for emoticons, how are you handling? How does the text encoder for the neural net handle 4-byte Unicode?
This I don't know. No, it's taking this. Yeah, I don't know about the encoder.
Okay.
I think you should check into that because I think that could be broken at this point. Makes sense.
The other thing that was not there before is a specific entity. In the version you tried last time, it was just not ready yet. So if you put, I don't know.
So I mean, let's say dog, for example, or let's put and then I would say position here. What would I say? Position there?
If you want to know the position.
What is it saying 176 items? What does that mean? Is that sentences or what?
Yes, I removed this counter. No, it was batches or batches of sentences. Yeah. But I removed all the counters.
Cool. Okay, so that's the number. That's the places the word dog is mentioned, or something that corresponds to dog is mentioned.
Something that corresponds to dog. Yeah. So I guess doggy would get it as well, I assume.
Yeah, well, let's find out.
Or I hate a hot dog should not get it.
What's that?
Or I ate a hot dog should not get it. You could try, huh?
No, that looks good. It's dog eat dog. Yeah, whatever.
Try. I ate a hot dog. I really hope it doesn't get that.
Okay, all right, okay. Brilliant. That's very good. But yet, if I said food here,
food is not good. I had a problem to make the training data with food also. Yeah.
going is a little weird, but it's correct. This is very impressive, Jerome. It's very impressive. How does its speed compare to any other ways to do this? Is its speed respectable?
It depends. But sometimes the interpreter takes a lot of time.
Are you batching interpreter appropriately? And are you using interpreter caching properly?
Yeah, so the interpreter is caching and I'm sending queries by batches. But still.
Okay. Let me rewrite some of these if I
For
could.
the speed, there is a performance goal. So if you take something long, you can do performance goal goes to speed. And I think you just use classic spelling type thing. You won't use a neural network.
Okay. Tagging parts of speech. Now, I assume, I don't know why we're capitalizing like that. Sushma, unless you know a standard for that.
I think we are capitalizing. Let me check really quick.
Okay. Running interpreter means interpreting entities. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, entities or
also quantities.
Okay.
Interpreting
results.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I'm proposing those. I propose that capitalization unless you have reasons to think it shouldn't be that.
I will check that and let Jerome know. But I think we should also add ellipses after the text because that is what we do everywhere
Good.
else.
Okay.
Yes.
So the technical part of speech should be more general, no? Because it's grammatical units. So it's grammatical analysis, or I don't
see.
know.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Performing grammatical analysis.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Am I saving this notebook? Does anybody care about anything that's in here? I don't think so.
That's fine.
Okay. I think we are. Okay. What we need to do. Yeah. One last thing is that we need to gut these things and basically remove all the specifics here.
Exactly.
And you can put in things like entity, like this, right?
Yeah.
They just have a thing that says, form or type, and then something that says entity, right? I mean, I would say,
we could
look, roughly, I would suggest doing this. I would say
we could list like 2 or 3 and then get the whole list there.
Forms supported by text cases, types of forms, forms, whatever's categories include. Well,
put like entities and.
Well, I'm saying just quotes form. Any. What are we calling them? Text. Any text content type. Noun, city, ... Okay. Then we say a specific entity. Then we say down here this stuff. Right?
Yep.
Which we have to merge in. Okay. And then pretty much everything here disappears. Shall I just delete this, or shall I think I can just delete this because we have it in CVS after all.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Forms supported by text cases.
And should we document target device, by the way? I don't remember what was the conclusion of this discussion.
I don't know. Etienne, do you know? Oh, shoot. Oh, no, this is horrible. Okay, well, that's maybe a sign that we should be... Okay, that's a sign. Sushma, I'm sorry, you got to clean this up.
Yeah, okay.
And okay, let's add also verbatim, okay, to that list.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And, okay, all right, I have got to go. Super late here. Okay.
So,
all right.
I think Jerome had a question about target device.
Yes.
Yeah, target device, should we document it? No, I think it was decided.
If we support it, yeah. I mean,
yes,
we support it in lots of machine learning functions. So yes.
Definitely. Yes. I mean, we use a bit networks that will going to run much faster on GPU, right? So definitely.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
All right.
Okay. See you all soon. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thanks to
Bye.
hold on a second. Let me just okay. See you later. Bye everyone. Thanks.
Bye.